Hey YouTube, Normwest Post 975. I did something today I haven't done in a very, very long time. I got stranded in a supermarket because of this. As you can see, it's a beautiful summer's day. Yeah, it was absolutely tanking it down. So much so that I thought, bollocks am I going out and getting pissed through to the bone and then having to drive home, all damp and wet in a car, and then all the car steams up and shit, and then... So I thought, screw it. So I went to the magazine aisle and I started reading a whole bunch of magazines. Which in itself is actually quite difficult to do these days, particularly Nintendo magazines. They seem so obsessed with throwing stupid amounts of free gifts and tat at you that you do not need, that the magazines come sealed in boxes now. But yeah, I read Retro Gamer magazine, but obviously I love Retro Gamer magazine because it's Retro Gamer magazine. It does what it says on the tin. But yeah, I was looking through Xbox magazines and Wii magazines, and I was just like, this is shit. This is shit. So it got me thinking, now not just the magazine, because I was watching a TV commercial the other day for Spec Ops, and yeah, it got me thinking that, yeah, these not games, but these are 5 gaming related things that I just think were better back in the day. I get that gaming is so obsessed with maximization of profit these days that, and taking a chance can actually cost a company, So I get that there's this kind of fear, and everyone wants the next big franchise or next big game that they can milk year in, year out. But I just think, regardless of the fact that I have these memories as a child, I do think gaming is a far colder, more cynical, place these days than when it was back in the day. So these are 5 things, not games, but 5 gaming related things I just think were better back in the day. And as I said, the first one of these is magazines. I was reading this magazine and it was crap. It was either some guy trying too hard to be funny and make statements that you were just like, dude, that's just crass and not even involved with the game, or some guy who was just taking the game apart to such a degree that it was like, well, I'm not really getting whether you like the game or not. You seem to be obsessed with pointing out every single little flaw in it as opposed to giving us an overall review. Magazines back in the day didn't do this. They didn't feel like you were talking to a journalist. You had Crash Magazine, Zap 64, Mean Machines, and this is the best example of it, where it felt more like a friend talking to you. You used to get the little box in Mean Machines, didn't you, with like a cartoon version of the guy reviewing it, and obviously I know that because gaming was a much younger sort of environment back then, game magazines, that these people were quite young, probably near our own age, but yeah, it just felt like more like a friend telling you why he liked this game and why you might like it, and it was generally witty, informing, intelligent, and they won you over. In fact, I read Mean Machines and I had my favourite reviewers who I just would take their word as God. Magazines don't do that now. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it's a case of the internet killing them because we can go on the internet, but I just think magazines are boring and shit these days. And then the other one that, because I was watching the Spec Ops advert, is TV commercials for games. When did TV commercials for games stop being sort of innovative and interesting and funny and not afraid to try something different instead of just nice shiny graphic clips from a game with a rock or a rap background? There's nothing wrong with that, but it's hardly original, is it? Does anyone remember back in the day the do me a favour, plug me into a Sega TV commercials? With the TV whining because he wanted to be plugged into a Sega, then showing these whole bunch of games. It was more so having a platform to show you products, almost like a little mini show, rather than just here's this game, here's this game. In fact, the other one Sega did that was absolutely brilliant was Pirate TV. Some of those were crazy. You saw bits of the game in there, but you saw more of just this outlandish commercial not being afraid to take chances. It was almost like it was trying to create brand loyalty as opposed to, here's this game, go and buy it. I don't know. I think TV commercials are definitely crap, boring now, which leads me into my next one, which is TV programs. Are there any TV programs devoted to games anymore? Maybe there are. Maybe I just happen to miss them all, but all I know is, back in the day as a kid, there were a shit ton of them. There were loads. Everyone tried to copy each other, but they all had their own unique style and were just brilliant. I think my absolute favourite must be Games Master. When, you had Sir Patrick Moore. The guy from The Sky at Night. Superimposed is this all-powerful computer where you could, kids would ask it, superimposed into this world. problems where they were stuck in games and Patrick Moore would give them the solution. They had reviews, they had head-to-heads, and they had a studio audience. I mean, gaming's about being with people, isn't it? So a studio audience is a must. What do we have now? Gadget show? Not really a gaming related show, but it's the only show I ever seem to catch where you get sort of games and game related items, you know, reviewed or compared. But I don't know, it's just what happened to decent gaming, you know, shows. There must be a need for it. There absolutely must still be a need for it. Now this one's really, really interesting because obviously these days all we have is companies, and specifically EA, telling us that we're killing the industry, that we should be paying for this, we should be paying for that, we should not be allowed to do this, we shouldn't have used games. If anything, it's our fault if gaming collapses. There's no respect from companies. But I definitely think, and this is just my personal experience, that back in the day there were companies, they knew the importance of you, you know, they knew that they had to treat you with respect. There was a game company on the 8-bit systems, Electric Dreams. I think they were a subdivision of Activision, and they made the Aliens game, they made Spin Dizzy, absolutely amazing game, Spin Dizzy. They made Back to the Future, not such good a game. They made so many great games. They made Dandy. And I just wrote to them once as a kid and asked them if I can have a Back to the Future poster. Alright, it's the game poster, so I think it was only that big. And I remember a week later, I got this big fat A4 envelope stuffed with about 30 posters folded in half of all their games, you know, right across their catalogue, and I was like blown away, you know. I didn't send them a stamped addressed envelope or anything, I just asked them, hey, can I have a poster? And they sent me all these, and for every month of that year, yeah, they sent me a bunch of posters every month. I never wrote to them again, but they did it. It was like, I don't know, they probably thought, hey, you know, let's give him something. Chances are he might buy our games. But you know what, that one item, that one sort of act of kindness that they did just made me think then, and it did affect me. I did buy Activision Electric Dream games, but now it's just like they're just bastards to us. They're absolute bastards to us. And the final thing I do think, and this is kind of more game related, that as good as the internet is, as good as multiplayer experiences are these days, I think multiplayer back in the day was better. You know, I think the fact that it was you and a bunch of your mates from school sat around the same console, sharing a control pad or playing head to head, I think that to me, and that's probably me looking warmly on my childhood, is what multiplayer games are about. Sure, I play online, and you know, sure, there's nothing wrong with that. But gaming to me is, and obviously people still do this to a degree, but I don't think it anywhere near it used to be, because the lack of sort of internet and technology back then forced you to do this. Gaming was far more, I guess this is what I'm trying to say, gaming was a far more social thing then. Maybe it was because we were kids, I don't know, I don't honestly think so. But yeah, that's 5 things I think were just better back in the day. That's not me blasting current gaming, that's not me blasting anyone who didn't grow up with the systems I grew up with, that's just my opinion and observation. And I'd just be interested to see if any of you have sort of, you know, similar opinions and memories and just things you think were just handled or done, you know, in a better way back in the day. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.